Mic check, 1, 2. Are we recording? Hi, I'm Michelle Bernstein, an award-winning chef, restaurateur, and mom. I have a lot on my plate, including my psoriatic arthritis symptoms. That's why I was prescribed Cosentyx. It helps me move better.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for people 2 years of age and older with active psoriatic arthritis. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some were fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTYX or Cosentyx.com.
Ask your rheumatologist about Cosentyx.
Dominic Carter, Talk Radio 77 WABC. When you stop at, let's say, Canal Street in Manhattan and think you are getting such a wonderful deal on a purse, CD, DVD, designer item, a watch, do you ever stop and consider the flip side? That it's counterfeit merchandise that is going to fund possibly very bad things. Paul DiGiacomo is the president of the New York Detectives Endowment Association, representing 5,000 active and 13,000 retired detectives. Mr. President, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Dominic.
Let's be honest about it here. Most people look at things like, what's in it for me? And all they know is that they are saving money when they go get these discount items on the street or if they're directed into a van somewhere. Why should the public care about counterfeit merchandise being sold?
Well, the picture is much bigger than the counterfeit bag. There is a lot of criminal activity that goes along with trademark infringement, and it's funding certain syndicates that fund terrorist activity and fund the narcotics trade as well and the heroin trade. And it stops the economic machine in New York City on our recovery efforts for the real stores that are out there trying to sell the legitimate handbags and jeans and wristwatches. And that's going to be a major problem moving forward to recover and get back on our feet here in New York City.
So, Mr. President, you're telling me that there is the possibility of an organized crime threat here?
Not that there's a possibility, that there in fact is an organized crime threat.
Wow. Wow. And so, if you will, Mr. President, how does this scam work?
Well, it works like any other organized crime syndicate, Dominic. You have spots throughout Manhattan and throughout the city of New York in which the vendors are assigned. They sell the fake merchandise under false pretense that it's a real pocketbook. And then they meet at a certain location and they get paid and they funnel the money up just like any other organized crime group here in the city.
And so there's a real track of start to finish where the NYPD and law enforcement throughout the world have been able to locate this and identify this?
100%, Dominic. But the problem now is because of the defunding mechanism here in New York City and because of the mayor that's currently in office, the teams that were out there policing these illegal vendors and illegal counterfeiters was disbanded. So they're pretty much running rampant throughout the whole city. And it's not fair to the law-abiding businesses that pay big money to sell the real product.
And so the real companies, Mr. President, that you just referred to, they are losing major revenue. And does that down the road boomerang, if you will, back to the customer?
Well, it boomerangs back to the customer because it's not a quality product. You're not getting a quality product as if you were buying in the real store, and the people don't realize it. And at the same time, again, you're funding the narcotics trade, you're funding counterterrorism, and you're funding the trademark infringement as well.
How can we money laundering as well? Wow. We are talking to the president of the Detectives Endowment Association. How can members of the public tell from legitimate people selling items out on the street and those that are up to no good selling counterfeit items?
Well, Fendi is not selling bags on the streets. That I assure. So you would have to go to a legitimate store and buy the product at a legitimate store such as Macy's or Fendi itself or Fifth Avenue. And this has become a big problem for the city of New York because not only do they go out there and sell these counterfeit products, but they also fight over the territory, just like drug dealers fight over territories. Some locations are better than others, and they want those locations to bring in the most money that they could funnel back to their criminal enterprise.
And so we've sort of witnessed this in the last couple of months. You said that they fight over the territory. That's exactly what happened in Times Square as it relates to reportedly the CD sellers and one pulled out a gun and innocent people were shot. So is that exactly what you're talking about, Mr. President?
That's correct, sir. It seems like a low-level menial crime, but if you look at the big picture, it is not. Because, again, you're funding an organized crime group, and there are guns out on the street, and they are being used at these locations to secure their spots with no consequences after the guns are used. And that's another whole discussion and problem in itself.
Well, you know, Mr. DiGiacomo, as the president of the Detectives Union, I do want to ask you this because I would be remiss if I did not ask you this question. You represent a lot of active detectives in the city of New York. I am not a supporter of Defund the Police. From day one, I didn't support it. I feel that it's counterproductive, and it's a major reason why crime is going up. I strongly feel that we must support our police officers. So here's my question. How tough is it being a police officer, a detective these days?
Well, it's very difficult, Dominic, in that shootings are up, homicides are up, and we're down in the rank of detective. We need more detectives to investigate these crimes. There's more investigative steps to take to investigate these crimes. The shootings, the homicides, the sex crimes are on a rise, and innocent people throughout the city are being shot. Anywhere from 1-year-old to 76-year-old people are being shot by stray bullets, and I think that's very sad. And I blame it on our government officials. You know, I blame it on the governor. I blame it on the Senate. I blame it on the Assembly. This bill that they've enacted, this bail reform bill that they've enacted, is not working. It needs to be fixed. You need to give judges the ability to keep violent criminals in jail, and they don't have that ability right now. And if it continues to go on the way it's going, I predicted 1,000 people will be shot by January 1, and we're on track to do that.
Wow. It's very, very sad. How would you, in conclusion, Mr. President, how would you describe the morale of your detectives given the political environment that they're forced to operate in, day out?
Well, it's a very difficult time to operate as detectives. But you know something, Dominic? They go out and they do their job. They do it with professionalism. They do it with expertise. And they do it to bring comfort and closing to some of these families. Our detectives in Brooklyn North, a whole family was executed, except for one child was pushed into a closet in Brooklyn North. The detectives working that case raised money and sent that child and her cousins to Disneyland to bring some happiness in her life. And these are things that are being done by our detectives every day. And they do an amazing job at a very difficult time. And that's why they're the greatest detectives in the world.
Absolutely, Mr. President. I ditto that. The greatest detectives in the world, the greatest police force in the world. You just touched my heart describing how your detectives came up with the money to send this child, I think you just said, to Disneyland. That is amazing. That is the type of story that must get out. Defund the police, all that nonsense. The story you just said to me, Mr. President, that's what must get out to the public. The outstanding job that police do day in and day out. I thank you so much for your time.
Oh, it's our pleasure, and thank you, Dominic.
Thank you very much, President DiGiacomo, the president of the Detectives Endowment Association, representing 5,000 active New York City detectives and 13,000 retired detectives. Folks, you can catch my WABC podcast here and also join me on the radio weeknights, Monday through Friday, midnight to 1 a.m. on Talk Radio 77 WABC.